Jurassic World Chaos Series Season 2 introduced us to new dinosaurs and prehistoric creatures with genetic defects. We had the eyeless baryonyx, and then we had all those embryos, such as, creatures missing legs and stuff. But now we have good looks at them thanks to Chris Sears uploading his artwork to ArtStation. So the first one we have is the Lystrosaurus, and it just looks really cool. And there's multiple of them. We get to see multiple variations, so it's really cool to see this. We also got to look at parasaur, elephant, and alligator. That's what these were based off of, these embryos. That para in a container is really cool. I'm not sure if that was like a fan-made work or something, but still, it's a cool reference to go off of. But there's just so much going on here. So yeah, it's cool that this confirms Lystrosaurus was in Season 2. So we're getting like a new Dominion creature every season. So we had the Atrociraptors in the first one. Now Lystrosaurus. What's next? Well, I assume we might get multiple next. But anyway, we also had the baby baryonyx. I thought this was Spiroraptor at first. My apologies, but I'm correcting myself now because we only had one image to work off of to determine what it was. But now we know it's definitely a baby baryonyx because it says the name is that. But yeah, I wonder if this one was also going to be born without eyes, or if it would have had eyes. I feel like everything in these sort of incubators were some sort of genetic mess up. They had something wrong with them. We know one of the models definitely has something wrong with it. We'll get to that. But, could this baryonyx also have been eyeless as well, or leucistic, I think is the word. But yeah, because obviously it was making them super dinosaurs, basically. Like that eyeless baryonyx was the Daredevil of the Jurassic World, basically, because it had super hearing. It would hunt based on sound, echolocation, etc. But yes, there was also a Lystrosaurus without legs, so this was definitely one of the defects. So we have the baryonyx being born without eyes, then we have this Lystrosaurus being born without its back legs. So something strange was definitely going on here. And it makes sense why they blew up the whole facility with all these creatures in it, because obviously Red gets out, but of course the eyeless baryonyx and every other genetic mutation creature is left in there to die. I think they wanted to delete it from the lore, basically, or they wanted to like introduce it, show us something new, but it wasn't there by the time of Dominion, and I feel we would have seen those super dinosaurs by the time of Dominion if they were around. So it makes sense they had to get rid of them. It is a shame though that they killed less than baby like embryo dinosaurs. But and that eyeless baryonyx was so cool, so it's a shame it had to go, but nonetheless it did. But we also have baby Nizuroceratops, and there's like 3 Nizuroceratopses and 3 Lystrosaurus, so stay tuned. But why do I reckon there's more Nizuroceratopses and Lystrosaurus compared to like the one baryonyx baby that there was and the other baby, which we'll get to? Well, maybe this is telling us how Nizuroceratopses got into the world. Maybe the broker and this African lab team were the ones who introduced Nizuroceratops into the world, and this is further backed up by them having Lystrosaurus being ready. So obviously we know they were bringing in DNA to recreate dinosaurs, but Lystrosaurus confirms they can make their own dinosaurs without having to steal anything. So maybe this African team created the Nizuroceratopses, and that's how they were around during Big Rock, and that's how they come into this world, because we know they weren't on Isla Nublar thanks to the Isla Nublar list, the list of creatures there. So, maybe. But yes, we also did have baby Brachiosaurus, but there is only one of them. There's one Brachiosaurus baby, there's 2 baryonyxes, the small baby one, and then obviously the big eyeless adult one. Then we have 3 Lystosauruses, and we have 3 Nizuroceratopses. They all look different as well, which is really cool. So obviously they're all pretty plain because they are embryos, so they just have white. They don't really have any detail to them, but it's still cool. Those models were created by Chris Sears nonetheless. So yeah, but I think right here, this could definitely fuel for some theories about these specific creatures being made. Maybe no Brachiosauruses were saved from Isla Nublar, right? And maybe they were all left there because they were too big, because we're all wondering how did Brachiosauruses get onto the mainland. What if, this African lab team created the Brachiosauruses once again too, or at least took some DNA from Nublar brought them back to life, and that's how they were on the mainland. But there is also another baby Nizuceratops. There's another look at it. So yeah, we do have 3 different variations of Lystrosaurus and Nizuceratops, but I think this is all important. You know, maybe the Brokers team is the reason we're seeing dinosaurs on the mainland that weren't from Nublar. So I think Beckles Spinax, maybe they created that. I don't know why they would create it in Africa, then take it all the way to the mainland on United States, you know, and then take it back to Africa, because that's what they were doing, right? That's what the DPW were trying to do, because they had the Beckles Spinaxes in United States at one point, and then we saw one of the Beckles Spinaxes, I do believe Blondie, which is the red-faced one with the green body, at the DPW cargo site where they were shipping it off. So why would they send it back to Africa if the African team created it? Doesn't make sense. So there's a, you know, here is Leonard the Lystrosaurus, right? I think this is the exact mold Leonard had. But yeah, that theory, obviously it has things that work for it and things that don't work for it, such as, you know, if they did create Beckles Spinax, why would they be sending it back? Because we know Beckles Spinax wasn't a creature on the Isla Nublar list, I do believe. So who created it? But then again, it is by 2022 time, and we know that there were lab sites in the United States created after Jurassic World, because I think Brooklyn says that, and the lab team in Africa, because they say the African lab is the best lab on the planet besides like Bison and Jurassic World InGen stuff. So, you know, maybe those United States labs recently created the Beckles Spinaxes, while the African lab team were the ones who created the Nizuceratopses, maybe even Brachiosaurus at first, and then brought them back. It could be a possibility, but yes, speaking of Nizuceratops, here is the final baby one. And yeah, so I think maybe this theory could work if the United States labs were creating the recent dinosaurs like Beckles Spinax. What else was new? Pachyrhinosaurus, maybe? Yeah, maybe the United States labs created Pachyrhinosaurus and Beckles Spinax only recently, like maybe in 2021. Whereas, you know, the Fallen Kingdom event, the Lockwood escape, happened in 2018. And maybe the African lab was already set up at that point. They'd created the new Nizuceratopses. They had Lystrosaurus already, I guess. But, we know that the Lystrosaurus DNA is still out there because we see Leonard the Lystrosaurus in Dominion again. So I'm thinking, what if they survived the explosion? Now, hear me out. Lystrosaurus survived extinctions, right? So I know it's a stretch, but you know. Anyway, make sure to watch up here for more Chaos Theory videos. I'll see you all later. Bye, everyone.